I kind of want to piggyback off of what I was talking about last week, which was Grammy Week. Explore the different musical genres that have informed my life. A lot of it comes down to, music memories, right? I remember in college, I had 2 movies on DVD. One was Breakfast at Tiffany's and the other was the Marie Antoinette movie. That soundtrack was so good. It was a lot of like shoegaze, new wave pieces. It just felt very dreamy. It matched the film perfectly, the Sofia Coppola film. I've always been interested in indie music, and I think film was a really big way of accessing music growing up. I grew up in a pretty solid Christian household, so we listened to pretty much 3 different types of music. We had the Christian radio station, we had classical, and we had country music. I wouldn't say that I'm a diehard country fan, but there's definitely some songs and some bands that I really love. Even today, artists like Lainey Wilson and Casey Musgraves, I think they're awesome. There's more convergence than ever to play in different genres. For example, the blues. Like, I remember driving in high school and I remember listening to the AM radio station, and they would play a lot of blues music. And at the time, I really loved 50s music. I remember 50s, 60s, my grandma used to always play like doo-wop music whenever she would pick us up from school. I sort of like fell in love with the classic jazz singers at that time, like Billie Holiday or Etta James. I love her. And of course, I listened to some indie rock music at the time, but it really was all just through what I could access through the radio, because I wasn't really allowed to go to shows, and I was a little bit of a younger student in my class. So everyone else could drive and I couldn't until senior year. I felt like I missed a lot of those opportunities, like to go see shows with your friends. I mean, I had definitely made up for it in my 20s, but in high school, and I didn't have like an older brother or anything like that. Kind of whatever came to me through the radio is what I remember, or film. I went through a huge Disney phase, like Disney songs. I still to this day could sing you like The Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast. Last night I was sitting and I was like, what do I need to share with the world? The one song that came up was this Johnny Cash song. There's something just so pure and raw about like classic country music. I love this song. I am a man of constant sorrow. Sometimes like songs just come to me and you have to sing it. You have to sing it. That one, I definitely, like, when I was the first 3 or 4 years I was living in New York, I kind of revisited that bluegrass scene. I had some musicians that I was playing with, and it was very much like pop, mandolin, guitar. I wouldn't even call it country. It was just like a trio with harmonies, and I love harmonies. And fun fact, harmonies are a really amazing way of like regulating your nervous system with the people that you're singing with. My record, let's call it the record for now, I recorded 8 songs at the end of 2023, which the intention was to put out this record. All of the stories kind of revolve around like the absurdity of dating in today's world. Some of them are like more blues inspired. Some of them are more rock, more folk, it's a little like country, even like everything from pop to country, blues, rock. And I wanted to write a variety of songs because if you remember from one of the last episodes, I was saying like working with my mentor really helped me to expand my musical vocabulary. So I'm really proud of the variety. When I went to a producer that I was super excited to potentially work with, she basically said that only one of the songs she actually hears me in. And I thought that was like really discouraging, although I think that she was just mimicking the energy that I was putting out there about the songs because I was being so critical. The demos that we created are just basic drum tracks with my guitar and Mario's bass and very rough vocals. They sound very, very different from when I was just playing them with the guitar or with the piano. I've gone through, as I mentioned, jazz, Christian, country, blues. I love disco, Motown. I love house music. Like, I used to go to these underground parties all the time in Brooklyn when I lived there. It was a little crazy, a little chaotic, a little stressful. When you're in that go, go, go energy, like, sometimes that's just the music that you need to like keep going. I love New York, but I'm grateful I don't live there anymore. I've fully embraced my like chill reggae beach vibes back here in California. Got the floral pants here if you're listening or watching on YouTube. It's very Huntington Beach, California. Man, I remember one of the first concerts I went to in New York was LCD Sound System, and it was so cool. It was at Madison Square Garden, and they had these like giant white balloons that they were throwing up everywhere, and they played 3 nights in a row, and it was like their last concert ever. And they've since come back, of course, as they all do. Hopefully, luckily. That music is definitely more like electronic, house, dancey, layers of guitars and like the New York sound. One thing I love about New York is just like how much music came from there. You know, you have CBGB, like the underground rock, punk rock. There's like the new wave music, that goth wave. Like before I moved to New York, I had never been to shows like I've been to there. My first concert was Lizzie McGuire. I remember driving up to Phoenix. It was a really big deal with all of my girlfriends in high school, and we saw Faith Hill and Tim McGraw. We made shirts, all matching, you know, colorful shirts. We also made shirts for Lizzie McGuire, Hilary Duff. Another country concert I saw in Tucson was LeAnn Rimes. Oh, I loved her when I was little. I loved LeAnn Rimes. My very first piece of music that I ever bought was TLC. Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls. There's always been this soulful part of me too. Even if I could only listen to R&B on the radio, you know, it's like I love reggae. I love anything that feels like soulful. Motown, disco, like these are all cross genres of where music came from and where it's going. I'm pretty sure the Grammys didn't have, you know, best disco track. It was probably just best pop track. I feel like I should go into like a whole musical history lesson right now. I don't have the expertise in this area. I did take a history of jazz course in college, which was pretty cool. And I remember the very first day they played a Frank Sinatra song, and it was actually written by somebody that went to University of Arizona. Go figure. Let's take it nice and easy. It's gonna be so easy for us to fall in love. There's a poster on the wall over here of Judy Garland. I went through a huge Judy Garland phase. I was like really into artists that passed at a young age, like Judy Garland. This was in high school. In my 20s, I went through a Janis Joplin phase, of course. I was like obsessed with Fleetwood Mac. I used to sit in the park and just learn all of their songs, pretending like no one could hear me in the middle of Brooklyn. I busked a few times, but usually it was just like practicing for myself and like trying to get out of this fear of being seen. And Fleetwood Mac has like so many songs, so that was a really good place to start learning how I can sing and not just an octave range. Going into this new album, after thinking through all of these different genres, I'm going to really kind of come back to the drawing board and give myself permission to sit down and think about what I love from these songs, you know? Like, I want this album to be a little bit more upbeat and dancey. I think it's there, but I've really, in the demos, it's going in like a very much like one dimension rock feel. That wasn't my intention initially. Maybe this is the thing that I've been like waiting for, the inspiration to jump back in, is all of the different genres that exist. It's infinite, really. I think I've talked enough today. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Thank you again for listening. Until next time, I hope you stay healthy, wealthy, and wise.